Barcelona.
Barcelona, table of contents.
All about Barcelona, Spain. With visiting and touring information. Geography. History. Attractions. And other points of interest.
Dr. Sydney Soclof. drsydney22@gmail.com. 2022. Narration by Dr. Sydney Soclof,
Zoe Phonemes,
and Nathan Koltove. For a more complete discussion of YouTube navigation, please go to this video using the link here.
Chapter 1. Barcelona.
Barcelona.
Barcelona is Spain's most modern, outward-looking and cosmopolitan city.
Barcelona is a major Mediterranean port and a prosperous capital of Catalonia, one of Europe's most dynamic regions. There has been continuous human settlement here since before Roman times, and the city has grown and adapted to meet new challenges throughout its long history.
Hosting the 1992 Olympic Games was the most recent impetus for successful redevelopment and renewal.
This is the flag of Barcelona.
Chapter 2. Where is Barcelona?
Barcelona is in northeastern Spain, 100 miles or 160 kilometers south of the Pyrenees mountain range and the border with France.
Barcelona is the second largest city in Spain after the capital, Madrid.
Spain is divided into these 17 autonomous communities, including Catalonia in the northeast corner of the country. These autonomous communities are somewhat comparable to states in the U.S.
Barcelona is the capital of Barcelona province and of Catalonia, an autonomous region, or community, of Spain.
Here is the city of Barcelona on the Mediterranean Sea.
The Barcelona Airport, BCN, is just to the south of the city along the Mediterranean coast.
Barcelona is located in the province of Barcelones, along the Mediterranean coast, between the mouths of the Rios Llobregat and Besòs.
Barcelona is on a coastal plateau of about 3 miles or 5 kilometers in width, bordered by the mountain range of Collserola, and the Llobregat River on the southwest, and the Besòs River on the northeast.
Chapter 3. Catalonia.
As the capital city of Catalonia, Barcelona houses the seat of the Generalitat de Catalunya and its consularies, the Parliament of Catalonia, and the Supreme Court of Catalonia.
The Autonomous Community of Catalonia, Catalan, Comunitat Autónoma de Catalunya, and in Spanish, Comunidad Autónoma de Catalunya, is an autonomous community of Spain.
With a population of 7.1 million, the Autonomous Community of Catalonia represents 16% of the total population of Spain. The area equals 6.3% of the total area of Spain.
Chapter 4. Catalonian language.
The major ethnic division in Barcelona is between native Catalans and immigrants from the rest of Spain. Catalans make up about 2/3 of the city's population.
Cultural difference between these groups is reflected above all in language use. Barcelona is a bilingual city. Most of its residents speak Catalan as well as Castilian Spanish, both Romance languages.
Catalan is used by half of the population in everyday situations, at all social levels, and it is the preferred language of middle-class residents.
Castilian Spanish is the language of choice for most of the large urban working class, many of whom are recent migrants from elsewhere in Spain. especially from the southern region of Andalusia.
This chart shows the development of Catalan from Latin and the relationship with Spanish.
Here is a more detailed view, showing the relationship of Catalan to the other Romance languages, derived from Latin.
Castilian Spanish, Catalan, and Galician are all closely related languages derived from Latin.
We see here the close relationship between Castilian Spanish, Catalan, and Galician. On the other hand, the Basque language is a completely unrelated language.
Here is a further comparison of the Castilian Spanish, Catalan, Galician, and Basque languages.
This is a comparison of some words in Castilian, Catalan, Galician, and Basque languages.
Chapter 5. Barcelona Port. This is the flag of Catalonia.
Hans Christian Andersen was greatly impressed with this city. On his first visit he remarked that Barcelona was the Paris of Spain.
Barcelona is, indeed, a major cultural center with a remarkable history, with museums and buildings of interest, featuring superb examples of modernist and Art Nouveau decor and architecture.
Barcelona is Spain's major Mediterranean port and commercial center.
Here is a view of the port from the Miramar area. It is famed for its individuality, cultural interest, and physical beauty.
This is Port of Vella, Old Port, which forms the main part of Barcelona's harbor.
Barcelona was heavily fortified until relatively recent times, and did not spread much beyond its medieval confines until the 19th century, a factor that contributed to the emergence of industrial satellite suburbs and towns around the city proper.
This combination of a concentrated core with a highly developed industrial belt has made Barcelona one of the most congested cities in the world.
Since the late 1970s, with the official recognition of the Catalan language and the granting of significant levels of regional self-government, cultural life has been revitalized, bringing with it a new awareness of the depth and variety of Catalan culture.
Chapter 6. How big is Barcelona?
The population is 1.6 million in the city, and the metropolitan area is home to 5.3 million.
This is the population growth of Barcelona from 1890.
What does Barcelona look like?
There is a semicircle of mountains surrounding Barcelona.
Inside the semicircle of mountains there is the rocky outcrop of Montjuic, 630 feet, or 192 meters, high. Tibi de Bo at 1,745 feet, 532 meters, is the highest point.
This shows Barcelona and immediate surrounding area, including Rio Llobregat and Rio Besòs, and the airport, Aeropuerto El Prat, BCN. Chapter 7. Ciutat Vella, or Old City.
The downtown area of Barcelona is divided into two zones: the Ciutat Vella or Old City, and the Eixample.
The center, the Ciutat Vella or Old City, faces the sea. Barcelona's principal historical buildings are located here. This is all very close to the cruise ship terminal.
The historic buildings include the cathedral, known as La Sau, and numerous other churches and monasteries, many in Gothic style.
Buildings of medieval origin include the former royal and viceregal palaces, the Capella de Santa Agata, Chapel of Saint Agatha, the Ajuntament, City Hall, and the Palau de la Generalitat, which is the Catalan regional government building located on the Plaça de Sant Jaume, St. James's Square.
The Ramblas is a famous series of boulevards full of pedestrians and vendors. It divides the old city center, the Ciutat Vella, in half.
The Ramblas extends from the harbor at the Columbus Monument, Monument a Column, in Catalan, to the Plaça de Catalunya, Plaza of Catalonia, which is considered the city's focal point.
Here is a view showing the cruise ship terminal and Las Ramblas extending from the harbor at the Columbus Monument to the Plaça de Catalunya, or Plaza of Catalonia.
Here is Las Ramblas extending from the harbor at the Monument a Colón or Columbus Monument to the Plaça de Catalunya or Plaza of Catalonia, the city's focal point.
Just to the west of Las Ramblas and another major street, Avenida Parallel, is Barcelona's largest park and gardens, Montjuic.
As well as being Barcelona's biggest park, Montjuic is home to several museums and cultural venues.
This is the area near the shuttle bus drop-off from the cruise ship terminal.
The main attractions of Barcelona are in the city center, particularly around Las Ramblas. The famous promenade is separated from the Eixample by the Plaça de Catalunya, and it leads down to the port and the Plaça Portal de la Po,
where the Columbus Monument stands in commemoration of the discovery of America and the announcement of it in Barcelona.
The Columbus Monument is situated at the southern end of Las Ramblas and adjacent to Port Vella.
This is the Columbus Monument.
The port of Barcelona is second in Europe for commercial traffic and first for the number of cruise ships which call there. The harbor has 8 passenger terminals, 5 for cruise liners and 3 for ferries.
Barcelona has recently become the main port of call in Europe, with over 1 million passengers every year.
Most cruise lines have itineraries that include the port of Barcelona.
This is the Barcelona World Trade Center.
Here again is the Barcelona World Trade Center.
This is the World Trade Center, located to the west of Port Vella.
This is the Barcelona World Trade Center.
Chapter 8. Las Ramblas.
5 separate streets strung end-to-end form Las Ramblas.
Las Ramblas forms one of the most delightful aspects of Barcelona. Along its broad, tree-lined center strips are a series of stalls and kiosks selling items such as flowers, pets, books, and newspapers.
Las Ramblas are tree-lined pedestrian boulevards, with buskers, living statues, mimes and itinerant salespeople selling everything from lottery tickets to jewelry.
Here are some of the many living statues on Las Ramblas.
Here are more of the living statues on Las Ramblas.
Here are more of the living statues on Las Ramblas.
Some of the living statues are quite humorous.
This is a view of Las Ramblas.
Beginning at the port, we first see the Columbus Monument, which is in the first section of Las Ramblas called Rambla de Santa Monica.
This is another view of the Rambla de Santa Monica.
Just across from the Columbus Monument is the very large and impressive Maritime Museum that is well worth a visit.
The Maritime Museum portrays all aspects of the sea and seafaring by means of ships, models of ships, nautical equipment, tools, weapons, diagrams, and drawings.
This is Las Ramblas, Barcelona's famous walking street.
Here is another view of Barcelona's famous walking streets.
Here is another view of Las Ramblas.
Las Ramblas.
Las Ramblas has some outside cafes.
Here are some street performers in Las Ramblas.
Seen on Las Ramblas.
Plaça de Catalunya, or the Plaza of Catalonia, is at the northern end of Las Ramblas, and is considered to be Barcelona's focal point.
Here are some principal points of interest.
Here is Plaça de Catalunya, Plaza of Catalonia, and the University of Barcelona.
Here is Plaça de Catalunya, Plaza of Catalonia.
This is the Plaça de Catalunya, Plaza of Catalonia.
This is Plaça de Catalunya, Plaza of Catalonia, looking south.
You can get a great view, as well as a good meal, in the restaurant on the 9th floor of El Corte Inglés, a major department store adjacent to the Plaça de Catalunya.
This is a view of the Plaça de Catalunya from the restaurant on the 9th floor of El Corte Inglés.
This is the Plaça de Catalunya, Plaza of Catalonia.
The Plaça de Catalunya, Plaza of Catalonia.
You can find just about everything on Las Ramblas and at Plaça de Catalunya, Plaza of Catalonia.
Here is Las Ramblas extending from the harbor at the Monument to Colón or Columbus Monument to the Plaça de Catalunya or Plaza of Catalonia, the city's focal point.
Mercat Sant Josep la Boqueria is a very large colorful market with many stalls selling fish, meat and vegetables.
This is the Mercat Sant Josep la Boqueria.
The Mercat Sant Josep la Boqueria has beautiful displays of artfully arranged fruit and vegetables.
The Mercat Sant Josep la Boqueria is just a couple of blocks north of the corner of McDonald's and KFC on the left side of Las Ramblas.
Chapter 9. Barri Gòtic. Barri Gòtic is the nucleus of Old Barcelona. It contains a concentration of medieval Gothic buildings very close to Las Ramblas, and is a maze of interconnecting dark streets linking with squares.
The Barri Gòtic, meaning Gothic quarter, is in the Ciutat Vella between the east side of Las Ramblas and Vella.
The Barri Gòtic is the center of Barcelona, where the city originated, and where the main public buildings are located: the Palau de la Generalitat, the Town Hall, the Cathedral, and the Palau Real.
Most of the buildings date from the 14th and 15th centuries, when Barcelona was at the height of its commercial prosperity, and before it had been absorbed into Castile.
At the core of the city in Ciutat Vella is Barri Gòtic, an area also known as the Gothic Quarter. Located between Las Ramblas and the Vella, it is a close-packed maze of narrow streets with magnificent medieval buildings.
This is Plaça Real, one of the most famous squares in Barcelona in Barri Gòtic, and very close to Las Ramblas.
This is the Plaça Real.
In Plaça Real, there are street lamps designed by Antonio Gaudi in his earlier years in 1878.
To reach the Plaça Real, as you were heading up Las Ramblas from the Colón Monument, Hang a right at the corner of Carrer Colom for a very short distance to the plaza. Carrer Colom is 1 block south of the corner of KFC and McDonald's.
The Barri Gòtic quarter is centered around the Plaça de Sant Jaume, a spacious square, the site of a busy market and one of the venues for the weekly dancing of the Sardana.
This is Plaça de Sant Jaume, or St. James Square.
This is the Plaça de Sant Jaume.
To reach Plaça de Sant Jaume from Los Ramblas you head up, or north, on Los Ramblas. Hang a right at the corner of KFC and the first McDonald's on Carrer de Ferran, and it's about a 5-minute walk.
2 of the city's most significant buildings are in Plaça de Sant Jaume. The Eixample Casa de la Ciutat, and the Palau de la Generalitat.
The government buildings, such as the Palau de la Generalitat, a 14th to 15th century building with Baroque and neoclassical facades, and the Palau Real, attest to the city's importance as an administrative capital.
The Palau de la Generalitat, the Catalan regional government building, is located on the Plaça de Sant Jaume, St. James's Square.
The Generalitat de Catalunya, or Government of Catalonia, which is Generalitat de Catalunya in Spanish, is the institution under which the Spanish region, or autonomous community, of Catalonia
is politically organized. It consists of the Parliament, the President of the Generalitat, and the Executive Council or Government of Catalonia.
The Eixample, or City Hall, is also known as Casa de la Ciutat.
This is the Eixample, or City Hall, also known as Casa de la Ciutat.
Located only a block or 2 away from Plaça de Sant Jaume and Barri Gòtic, is the Cathedral of Santa Eulàlia. The famous Sagrada Família is not a cathedral.
The Cathedral of Barcelona is the Cathedral of Santa Eulàlia, a Gothic building of the late Middle Ages. The cathedral, episcopal palace, and churches bear witness to Barcelona's importance as a religious center.
This is the location of the Cathedral of Santa Eulàlia.
The Cathedral of Santa Eulàlia, also called La Sau, is the Gothic cathedral seat of the Roman Catholic Archbishop of Barcelona.
La Sau was constructed throughout the 13th to 15th centuries on top of a former Visigothic church. The Gothic-like facade is from the 19th century.
The cathedral is dedicated to Saint Eulàlia of Barcelona, co-patron saint of Barcelona, a young virgin who, according to Catholic tradition, suffered martyrdom during Roman times in Barcelona.
One story is that she was exposed naked in the public square, and a miraculous snowfall in mid-spring covered her nudity.
The enraged Romans put her into a barrel with knives stuck into it and rolled it down a street. The body of Saint Eulàlia is entombed in the cathedral's crypt.
An earlier Christian church once existed on this site. The crypt contains the remains of Santa Eulàlia, the first patron saint of Barcelona, and the saint to whom the cathedral is dedicated.
The cathedral has a secluded Gothic cloister where 13 white geese are kept, because it is said that Eulàlia was 13 years old when she was murdered. The white geese in the 14th century cloister are said to represent the purity of Santa Eulàlia.
This is the front entrance of the Cathedral of Santa Eulàlia.
This is the Barri Gòtic.
This shows the narrow streets of the Barri Gòtic.
This is a square in Barri Gòtic.
Vella is a major thoroughfare in Barcelona in the Ciutat Vella district bordering Barri Gòtic on the east.
This is Vella.
Here is Vella bordering Barri Gòtic on the east.
The Arc de Triomphe, or in English, Triumphal Arch, was built for the 1888 Universal Exhibition as its main access gate.
Pablo Picasso lived and worked in Barri Gòtic from 1895 to 1904.
The Museu Picasso is the most visited art gallery in Barcelona, with over 1 million visitors per year. This gallery is home to one of the world's largest collections of Picasso's artwork.
The museum is housed in 3 beautiful stone mansions on the Corredor de Montcada, which was in medieval times an approach to the port.
This shows the location of the Picasso Museum in Barri Gòtic, just about a block or two west of Vella.
Just a few blocks south of the Picasso Museum, and also in Barri Gòtic, is the Basilica Santa Maria del Mar. This is a good example of Catalan Gothic architecture, built in the years 1329 to 1384.
The museum shows numerous works that trace the artist's early years, and is especially strong in his blue period, with canvases like The Defenseless, ceramics, and his early works from the 1890s.
In the early years of the 20th century, Picasso, still a struggling youth, divided his time between Barcelona and Paris.
The second floor shows works from Barcelona and Paris from 1900 to 1904, with many of Picasso's Impressionist-influenced works.
The haunting portrait of Señora Canals, 1905, from Picasso's Pink period, is also on display.
Among the later works, all executed in Caen in 1957, are a complex technical series, Las Meninas, which consist mostly of studies on Diego Velázquez's masterpiece of their same name.
Here are some paintings by Picasso.
Capella de Santa Agata is the chapel that belongs to the Palacio Real Mayor, or Mine, Royal Palace. It is located on a square that has borne witness to countless historical events. It is pure Gothic in style, and was built at the beginning of the 14th century.
This is the Catalan Parliament, located in Parc de la Ciutadella.
The old Roman walls survive in places largely because stretches of them were incorporated into the medieval city.
The skyline of the modern city inevitably reflects the style of the present age. But Barcelona has always attracted distinguished and original architects.
Avenida Diagonal is a long, wide street that cuts diagonally across most of Barcelona.
The more modern buildings along the Avenida Diagonal are quite striking, but little can compare with the work of the Catalan sculptor and architect Antonio Gaudi, whose huge and elaborate expiatory temple of the Holy Family, or Sagrada Família, has become a symbol of the city itself.
Chapter 10. Eixample.
The old city of Barcelona, or Ciutat Vella, is almost surrounded by the newer district of Eixample.
The word Eixample means extension in Catalan.
The most famous site in the Eixample district is the Sagrada Família church.
The old city, Ciutat Vella, is nearly surrounded by the Eixample, which is a series of neighborhoods created by the expansion of the city after the old city walls were torn down beginning in 1854.
The Eixample was laid out according to the Ciutat plan, which was named after engineer Ildefons Cerda, one of the first modern city planners.
The Eixample is an elegant and spacious residential area, and houses most of Barcelona's modernist, or Art Nouveau, architecture.
Especially notable are the buildings of the noted Catalan architect, Antonio Gaudi.
Chapter 11. Sagrada Familia.
Gaudi's most prominent building is the famous Templo Expiatorio de la Sagrada Familia, Church of the Holy Family, which was begun in 1884 and is still unfinished.
Here is the location of the Sagrada Familia.
Here are some of the major thoroughfares and points of reference in the Ciutat, Vella and the Eixample.
There is a metro stop, Sagrada Familia, close to the basilica.
Templo Expiatorio de la Sagrada Familia, the Holy Family, is a large Roman Catholic basilica that is still under construction.
The formal title of the basilica is the Templo Expiatorio de la Sagrada Familia, or Expiatory Temple of the Holy Family. The basilica is the last, and perhaps most extraordinary, of the designs of the Catalan architect Antonio Gaudi.
The Sagrada Familia was planned in the late 19th century, and construction work, under the supervision of Gaudi, commenced in 1884.
At the time, the basilica stood in an empty field over a mile away from urban Barcelona.
Gaudi worked on the project for over 40 years, devoting the last 15 years of his life entirely to this endeavor. Gaudi is said to have joked, "My client is not in a hurry."
After Gaudi's death in 1926, work continued until interrupted by the Spanish Civil War in 1935.
Most of the Sagrada Familia spires appear to be topped with brightly painted stone fruit.
Parts of the unfinished building and Gaudi's models and workshop were destroyed during the Spanish Civil War. The design, as now being constructed, is based both on reconstructed versions of the lost plans and on modern adaptations.
The central nave vaulting was completed in the year 2000, and the main tasks since then have been the construction of the transept vaults and apse.
Over 2 million people visit the partially built basilica every year, making it one of the most popular attractions in Spain, alongside the Museo del Prado and the Alhambra.
This shows the location of the Sagrada Familia and La Pedrera, another building designed by Gaudi, and some other points of interest.
Important streets in central Barcelona are Los Ramblas, Gran Via de les Corts Catalans, and Avenida Diagonal.
The Arc de Triomphe is several blocks to the east of Via Laietana on Passeig Saint Joan, at the entrance to Parc de la Ciutat.
Outside the Eixample District 2, lies Barcelona's former industrial belt, Districts 4 to 9, where old factories and traditional working-class housing are being converted to residential and other uses.
Chapter 12. Casa Batlló and Casa Milá. Antonio Gaudi made a number of other notable contributions, including the multi-story apartment buildings, Casa Batlló and Casa Milá. Casa Batlló was designed by Gaudi and built in the years 1905 to 1907.
This shows the location of Casa Batlló.
The local name for Casa Batlló is Casa des Ossos, House of Bones, and indeed it does have a visceral, skeletal organic quality.
Casa Batlló was originally designed for a middle-class family and situated in a prosperous district of Barcelona.
It seems that the goal of Gaudi was to avoid straight lines completely. The building looks very remarkable, like everything Gaudi designed, only identifiable as Modernisme or Art Nouveau in the broadest sense.
The ground floor, in particular, is rather astonishing with tracery, irregular oval windows and flowing sculpted stonework.
Casa Milá, better known as La Pedrera, Catalan for the quarry, is a building designed by Antonio Gaudi and built in the years 1905 to 1907.
La Pedrera is one of the most noticeable buildings designed by Gaudi. It is part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Works of Antonio Gaudi.
This shows the location of Casa Milá, or La Pedrera. It is located at 92 Passeig de Gràcia. Passeig is Catalan for promenade or avenue, in the Eixample district.
Casa Milá does not have any straight lines. Most people consider it magnificent and overwhelming. Some say it is like waves of lava or a sand dune.
Casa Milá seems to break our understanding of conventional architecture. The most astonishing part is the roof with an almost lunar appearance and dreamlike landscape.
Casa Milá can be considered more of a sculpture than a regular building. Critics remark on its detachment from usefulness, but others consider it to be art.
The Barcelonese of the time considered it ugly, hence the quarry nickname. But today it is a landmark of Barcelona.
The wavy facade, with its large pillars, reminds one also of an undulating beach of fine sand, formed, for example, by a receding dune.
The honeycombs made by industrious bees might also spring to the mind of the observer, viewing the snake-like ups and downs that run through the whole building.
An example of Antonio Gaudi's architecture is Palau that is conveniently located just half a block from Los Ramblas on a side street called Carrer Nou de los Ramblas. It's on the left side of Los Ramblas on Carrer Nou de los Ramblas.
Palau was built in 1888 to serve as a residence and also as an exhibition center.
Other architects, such as Luis Germán Montaner, produced remarkable structures in the modernist style, such as the Palau de la Música Catalana, a lavishly decorated music hall.
The Palau de la Música Catalana, Palace of Catalan Music, was built between 1905 and 1908 in a style known as Modernisme, the local term to design the Art Nouveau, whose most noteworthy practitioner was Antonio Gaudi.
The stadium of the Football Club Barcelona, the Camp Nou Stadium, is the largest stadium in Europe, with a capacity of nearly 100,000 people.
This is the new Estadi del Futbol Club Barcelona.
The Palau Nacional houses the National Art Museum of Catalonia, or Museu Nacional d'Art de Catalunya, a museum of Catalan visual art.
The Palau Nacional on the Montjuïc Hill was built for the 1929 World's Fair.
The Barcelona Museum of Contemporary Art, or Museu d'Art Contemporani de Barcelona, is situated in the Plaça dels Àngels, in the center of Barcelona.
The museum opened to the public in 1995. The collections focus on post-1945 Catalan and Spanish art, although some foreign art is also represented.
Estació de Sants is a concrete-lined artificial lake that provides a quiet haven from traffic.
Anella Olímpica is the Olympic Park, which features some large chimney-like sculptures.
The Olympic Stadium was the main site for the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona.
Torre de Collserola is a uniquely designed tower, located on the Tibidabo Hill in Barcelona.
Mainly used as a TV and radio transmitter, this provides the highest viewpoint over the city. The top antenna reaches 945 feet or 288 meters. And the top of the pod, which has 13 floors, reaches 500 feet or 152 meters.
The Torre Agbar, Catalan or Spanish, from Aguas de Barcelona, a water company, or Agbar Tower, is a 21st-century skyscraper in Barcelona.
Opened in 2005, the Agbar Tower is the third tallest building in Barcelona, measuring 144 meters, 466 feet in height, and consists of 38 stories, including 4 underground levels.
A unique feature of the building is its nocturnal illumination. It has 4,500 LEDs that allow generation of luminous images in the facade.
Chapter 13. Hop on, hop off tour buses.
The Barcelona bus touristique has 2 routes of approximately 2 hours per route.
This is the bus touristique route map.
The Barcelona bus touristique city sightseeing costs €22 for 1 day and €29 for 2 days. It has 2 main loops.
The Barcelona city tour costs €22 for 24 hours and €29 for 2 days, both unlimited hop-on and hop-off.
For seniors 65 plus, it's €18 for 1 day and €22 for 2 days. There are 2 routes of approximately 2 hours per route.
This is the Barcelona city tour.
This is the Barcelona bus touristique at Plaça de Catalunya, and a sign for the blue, or southern loop.
This is the area near the shuttle bus drop-off from the cruise ship terminal.
Chapter 14. Barcelona Metro.
The Barcelona Metro, part of the mass transit public transport system of Barcelona, is an extensive network of electrified railways that run underground in central Barcelona and above ground into the city's suburbs.
The Metropolitan Subway, opened in 1924, connects with the urban railway and provides regular service to the international airport at Prat de Llobregat, about 8 miles, or 13 kilometers southwest of the city.
The total track length of the system is 64 miles or 103 kilometers, of which 98% is underground.
Fares are integrated into a citywide system that also includes local and regional buses, and some regional train services.
Currently, the network consists of 9 lines managed by 2 different operators.
Chapter 15. The climate of Barcelona.
Will it be hot? Or will it be cold in Barcelona?
Here are the average high and low temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year in Barcelona.
Here are the average high and low temperatures in degrees Celsius throughout the year in Barcelona.
Rainfall in Barcelona.
Here is the rainfall throughout the year in Barcelona. The yearly total is 23 inches, or 590 millimeters. We see that the season with the most rain is in the months of September through November.
The money of Spain.
€1 equals $1.21 US. and $1 equals 0.82 euros.
Dot.
Dot.
Chapter 16. The economy of Barcelona.
Barcelona has a long-standing mercantile tradition. Less well known is that it was one of the earliest regions in continental Europe to begin industrialization.
This began with textile-related industries at the end of the 18th century, gathering momentum in the mid-19th century, when it became a major center for the production of textiles and machinery. Since then, manufacturing has played a large role in its history.
Barcelona's industry is relatively up-to-date, and the city has long established external markets to give it stability. Almost a quarter of Spanish exports come from Catalonia,
and 3/4 of Catalan industry is concentrated in the Barcelona area, which provides some 20% of Spain's industrial output.
Historically, the textile industry dominated Barcelona's economy, but its relative importance has declined as the service sector, which accounts for approximately 4/5 of all jobs, has developed.
Textile, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, automobiles, electronics, and appliance manufacturing are among Barcelona's leading industries.
As in other modern cities, the manufacturing sector has long since been overtaken by the services sector. Though it remains important in the services sector, the most important are the logistics, publishing, telecommunications and computer sectors.
Barcelona is one of the most popular tourist destinations in Europe, due to its good climate and its cultural offerings.
Barcelona houses over 45 renowned museums, and is famous for its unique contemporary architecture, and the famous works of architect Antonio Gaudi.
Barcelona has almost 3 miles, or 4.5 kilometers of clean beaches, from the historical Barceloneta to the newest, sandless bathing zone in the Forum.
The port of Barcelona accommodates ships from all parts of the world, as well as providing ferry service to the Balearic Islands and to Genoa, Italy. The city is an important European shipping center.
Barcelona is one of the major publishing centers for the Spanish-speaking world, and the Fiesta del Libro, held on April 23, is a major event for the book trade.
April 23 is also the feast day of Catalonia's patron saint, Saint George.
Barcelona, like Spain in general, has a well-developed higher education system of public universities.
Most prominent among these is the University of Barcelona, a world-renowned research and teaching institution with campuses around the city.
Chapter 17. The history of Barcelona.
The foundation of Barcelona is the subject of 2 different legends. The first attributes the founding of the city to Hercules, 400 years before the building of Rome.
It was rebuilt by the Carthaginian Hamilcar Barca, father of Hannibal, who named the city Barcino after his family. In the 3rd century BC, the second legend attributes the foundation directly to Hamilcar Barca.
About 15 BC, the Romans redrew the town as a castrum, a Roman military camp, centered on the Mons Tabor, a little hill nearby the contemporary city hall, Plaza de Sant Jaume.
Under the Romans, it was a colony, with the surname of Faventia or, in full, Colonia Faventia Julia Augusta Pia Barcino or Colonia Julia Augusta Faventia Paterna Barcino.
Next, around 400 AD, the Visigoths invaded Spain, moving its capital south to Madrid, and renaming Barcelona. Around 500 AD, the Visigoths briefly ruled large parts of what is now France and Spain.
Barcelona went through a few more invasions, Muslims from the north of Africa, and Franks, but those had little lasting influence.
Because of its location, bordered by France to the north and the Mediterranean to the east, Barcelona eventually rose to become one of the most powerful trade cities on the Mediterranean.
Not only did its port grow in influence during the Middle Ages, but the city itself grew and expanded. It was during this time that many of the beautiful buildings of Barcelona's Gothic quarter were constructed.
In 1492, with the discovery of the Americas, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella shifted their attention away from Barcelona and the Mediterranean seaboard to the new opportunities arising on the Atlantic.
Barcelona was no longer the seat of the monarchy, and Madrid once again became the capital of the new Spanish Empire.
Barcelona's situation worsened in the 17th and 18th centuries with the Catalonian revolt against Spain, which originated in Barcelona, and led to over a decade of decline in wealth and population.
Then in 1702, during a struggle for succession to the Spanish throne, Catalonia favored the Archduke of Austria, while the rest of Spain supported the Frenchman, Felipe of Anjou. When Felipe won out in 1714, all of Catalonia, including Barcelona, was suppressed culturally and politically.
Barcelona and the province of Catalonia were annexed by the French Empire of Napoleon after he invaded Spain.
This map shows the French Empire of Napoleon at its greatest extent around 1810.
Napoleon put his brother Joseph on the Spanish throne. It was returned to Spain after Napoleon's downfall.
During the 19th century, Barcelona grew with the Industrial Revolution and the introduction of many new industries. During a period of weaker control by the Madrid authorities, the medieval walls were torn down.
The fields that had surrounded the constricted city center became the Eixample extension, a bustling modern city surrounding the old.
The Eixample district has existed since 1860, after the demolition of the medieval ramparts. Today it is a vast commercial and residential district.
The Quadrat d'Or, or Golden Square in the heart of the Eixample, is home to the greatest gems of modernist architecture, such as La Pedra and Casa.
Barcelona was the site of the 1888 Universal Exposition, World's Fair, located in the modern Parc de la Ciutat.
The 1888 exposition also left behind the Arc de Triomphe
and the Museo de Zoologia, which was a building originally used during the fair as a cafe-restaurant.
The beginning of the 20th century marked Barcelona's resurgence, while Catalan nationalists clamored for political autonomy and greater freedom of cultural expression.
Barcelona sided with the Republic's democratically elected government during the Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939.
Barcelona was the last capital of the Spanish Second Republic, and was overrun by Francisco Franco's forces in 1939, which ushered in a reign of cultural and political repression that lasted decades.
With the death of Franco in 1975, and the establishment of the first democratic elections in 1977, Spain was finally on its way toward re-establishing itself.
At the same time, there was a surge of nationalist and autonomous ideas in Catalan, resulting in the administrative status of Catalonia as an autonomous community in 1979. During this time, Barcelona continued recovering and developing.
Barcelona has been the focus of the revival of the Catalan language. Despite massive immigration of Castilian speakers from the rest of Spain in the second half of the 20th century, there has been notable success in the increased use of Catalan in everyday life.
Barcelona proved itself to be a leading presence in the world as an artistic, cultural, and industrial city when it was chosen to host the 1992 Summer Olympic Games.
This is the site of the 1992 Barcelona Summer Olympics near the Palau Nacional. This event resulted in many extensive changes to the city, including parks, museums, roads, and urban development.
Chapter 18. Recommended videos, Barcelona.
Barcelona Vacation Travel Guide, Expedia.
Top 10 Attractions. Barcelona, Spain Travel Guide.
Barcelona, Top 10 Things to Do in Barcelona.
The History of Barcelona.
Barcelona, History.
Barcelona, Geography.
Barcelona, Table of Contents.
Thanks for watching.